our God gave us 10 good rules, 10 good rules. They help us to obey and follow God's ways. 10 good rules, 10 good rules. Hello everybody, hello grade 1-2s. Welcome to another week of Sunday school. That song was a reminder of what we've been learning about for the last few weeks. We have been learning about the 10 Commandments, which were special rules that God gave to his special people, the Israelites. Do you remember what we learned about last week? That's right, last week we learned about the first 4 commandments, which were about honoring and worshiping God. Today we are going to learn about the 5th commandment. The 5th rule God gave the Israelites says, honor your father and your mother. What does the word honor mean? So the word honor means to say that they're the best, or to obey them, to listen to them, to respect them, things like that. Today we'll hear about a prince named Absalom who didn't honor or obey his father, King David. Absalom was handsome on the outside, but on the inside he was greedy and selfish. King David ruled the great country of Israel from his palace in the city of Jerusalem. David was a good king, but his wicked son Absalom wanted to steal David's throne. If I were king, Absalom thought, people would bow down to me. They would give me expensive gifts, and best of all, I would be the boss. So every morning, Absalom went to the city gate to meet people who had complaints for the king. Absalom listened to the people's problems, then said, "The king won't listen to you, but if I were the king, I would listen." Absalom wanted the people to like him more than they liked King David. Absalom gave the people of Jerusalem so much attention that some people started wanting him to be their king. Soon, King David became afraid of Absalom's followers. There were so many of them. King David knew that his son had enough soldiers to take over the city. So David gathered his followers and fled from the city to the desert. There, David went up on a mountain and cried about all the bad things his son had done. So you can see there are people leaving. Before long, Absalom gathered a huge army and marched out to fight King David and his men. It was a terrible battle. Thousands of men died. But King David's army won. In the midst of the battle, Absalom was killed. When David learned that his son had died, he cried again. Despite all the bad things Absalom had done, David still loved him. "Oh, my son Absalom," he wept. Because Absalom didn't honor his father, thousands of people died. So you can see King David is very sad. So when we think about our story, how did Absalom dishonor his father? That's right, he tried to steal his father's throne and he tried to fight him. How do you think King David felt when all of this was happening? He might have been angry or scared or sad. Why did Absalom's men fight against David's army? That's right, they were fighting for the throne like we were talking about. And what happened during that battle? A lot of people died, including Absalom. And so what was David's reaction to all of that? Yeah, he was pretty sad. He was sad because his son died and he missed him. He was sad because so many people died. He was sad because of all the things that had happened. So now we're going to play a game, sort of like a game show. It's called Honor Your Father and Mother. I'm going to read some scenarios or some little stories, and I want you to think about what the children in these stories can do to honor their parents. So here comes the first one. Nikki's friends are going bike riding on a steep hill in their neighborhood. Nikki knows that her mom thinks the hill is too dangerous and that there's busy traffic at the bottom of the hill. But Nikki's mom is away at work and wouldn't know if Nikki rode down the hill. What should Nikki do to honor her mother? So you probably thought about one way for Nikki to honor her mother is to not ride down the steep hill. All right, let's try another one. Andrew loves playing with his new building blocks. His dad has already called him twice to come and help set the table for dinner. But Andrew is so close to finishing his tower, he only has a few blocks left. What can Andrew do to honor his father? So you probably thought about how Andrew can go help set the table as one way to honor his parents. Okay, let's do one more. Ben's mother came home from work with the flu, but Ben asked some friends to come over and play video games. The games are exciting and the boys are shouting and having a good time. Ben's mother is trying to sleep right above the room where the boys are playing. What can Ben do to honor his parents? So you probably thought about how one way Ben could honor his parents is to maybe ask his friends to be a little quieter, or maybe they could play something else, or ask their friends to come back another day. So let's think about this question. Why is it important to honor our parents? It's important for us to honor our parents because they love us and want what's best for us, and because it's what God reminds us to do in His 10 Commandments. How do your parents feel when you're helpful and kind to them? Probably makes your parents pretty happy. And what happens when you don't honor and respect your parents? It might make them sad or mad, or sometimes you might get into trouble. God gave us rules because He loves us, and God's rules say to honor our parents so we can have a long life. That's because our parents love us and want what's best for us. Nice job with our game today. So for this week we have a craft. I'm going to show you. You will need a piece of paper. It can be any color. Mine's a little crumpled up, but this is my piece of paper. And on this piece of paper, I want you to trace your hands, both hands. So this is what mine looks like. It's a little bit hard to see, but you can see I traced both of my hands. And then next, you need to cut it out, which I will do right now. So once you have your hands cut out, you can see that these are mine. It's okay if it's a little messy. You can find a piece of yarn or string or anything that, looks like this. And it can be long or short. I picked a little short piece so it will fit on my screen. So once you have your yarn, you take one end and tape it down to one hand. And you take the other end and tape it to the other hand. And you have a set of hands that can be like little huggers. Mine's a little short because I wanted you to be able to see. But if it's longer, you can wrap it around your body, pretend to give little hugs with this. If you don't want to make this, or if you don't have yarn or something, you can also draw a picture for your parents or draw a picture of your parents to remind you to honor them. All right, let's take a look at our Today I Learned this week. This is a picture of King David being really sad because Absalom did not honor him. Our story today came from 2 Samuel chapter 15 through 18. It's a few chapters, but you can read that with your parents. If you remember, we started a new memory verse last week, and it says, "These commandments that I give you today are to be upon your hearts," in Deuteronomy 6:6. So we'll be sure to include that for you. This week, let's be sure that we are honoring our parents in everything that we do as much as we can. And I will see you next week. Bye.